Hi, I'm Kuru, and today I'm here to give you some art advice. Just a disclaimer, I am not going to point out every single thing that I think could be improved, just some of the details that stick out to me. Also, feel free not to listen to my advice if you don't want to. That's fine too. Today we have this artwork here by Tsuki, and she says that this was supposed to be the cover of one of my stories. For unknown reasons, this Alice finds herself transported from the 1800s to modern Shinjuku. I drew this while I was still studying comics. I like the premise, it's very creative, and it really makes you curious to know what is going to happen. And the contrast between old and modern is also very fun. Plus, it is not easy to draw a full body illustration with a background. So I can understand that this was not a very easy drawing to make. For this video, I wanted to do it a little bit differently, so that instead of just adjusting some of the details, I will try and redo the illustration. I thought that might be best since it is a traditional illustration, it's drawn on paper. And it's a bit harder to do corrections directly on the paper when it's a picture. It's much easier to do that when it's a digital illustration. So I thought I might just redraw the illustration digitally, since that's the main medium that I use to work, and show you what points of improvements can be made as I work through the illustration. So I hope you will follow with me as we go through this process. The first thing that I thought could be improved was the composition. So the way that I wanted to go about this is to have a very simple composition. I just want the ground to be maybe around here, Alice to be sitting in the middle, she could be maybe right here in the center, and the title could just be up here. Very standard cover composition, I would say. So here we would have your title, here you have your protagonist, and then you have background elements. Alright, let's work on our Alice now. One thing that I thought when I looked at this illustration was that the pose doesn't look very natural. What I thought I would do is I would change it into a more of a lounging pose, because I thought that would make it seem more like she is a proper lady. I wanted her to sit kind of like you do at a picnic. I will show you some examples that I found. So there is this pose where you're like sitting on your side with your legs pulled to your side like this, or like this. Since she is sitting on the ground, I thought that would be one of the most natural poses for her to have. I also thought that since she I kind of wanted to give her that picnic vibe, and maybe she could have the teacup in her hand. I like the effect of the title coming out of the tea steam, but I thought it would make it hard to work that into my composition. So let's get into it. I'm just going to draw a quick sketch. It doesn't have to be perfect yet. We can fix it later. Alright, so now we have a base sketch. Another thing that I noticed is that according to the description of the image, she is supposed to be in modern Shinjuku, but that doesn't really come through in the original image. I can see that this was supposed to have been in a park. So if you want more like that park vibe, we can pick a real life location in Shinjuku, and I thought Gyoen Park was perfect for this. So this is what Gyoen Park looks during the fall season. It's very pretty, and I think it would be very good because with this framing you can show that she is in a park, but you can also show that she is in modern times, because you can put skyscrapers in the background. So you can convey the fact that she is coming from the 1800s through her clothes, and show the fact that she is now in modern times through the background. And that would bring out that contrast that I was talking about in the beginning. So now that we have a general idea of what the drawing is going to look like, we can start working on some of the details. So I like to start always from my characters because I find that the most fun part. And so I like to do the fun bits first, otherwise I get tired of an illustration if I am not having fun. So let's look at the original Alice design. I can see that she has a very poofy dress on. She has this necklace, or a choker rather, with a rose on it. One thing that confused me is the thing on her forehead. I thought maybe it could be a tiara or a circlet or a flower crown. I am not very sure, and I've talked about this before, but you should always be purposeful with your drawing. You need to convey a message to the viewer, and an unclear message only ends up obscuring the meaning and confusing the viewer. One thing about conveying messages through pictures is that you don't need to be very detailed. For example, here you can see that I didn't draw all the details of this building. I only hinted at the lines and some of the windows, but you can still tell that it's a skyscraper. Just remember to simplify the shape to its most basic structure. That's one of the very foundations of art. Always start from the most basic shapes for everything. Just keep it simple for the beginning. What you're trying to do is convey the emotion, the shape, and the action in the most basic way possible. And after you are satisfied with a sketch, if you look at it and say, okay, I understand what this person is doing now, then you go and add details. So going back to this character design, I think I will give her a circlet on her head, just because I like the idea. I think that circlets look very cute. And also her hair, one thing that I've noticed is that it looks a bit disheveled, like she just woke up, and these little bits that are sticking out are giving that idea. One thing that's very good to do, as I've said before as well, is to follow the flow of the hair. So if we think that the hair is starting from here, right, this is where you find this little dip that looks like this. The hair is starting from here. You want to follow the flow of the hair. So for her bangs that are coming through this headdress, you want to like follow a certain scheme. Maybe like this. Maybe you don't want her bangs to be this neat. You can still have them be a bit wavy, like this. Or maybe you don't want her to have bangs, that's fine. Then we can have the headdress here, and her hairline would be here. And then we can have her hair go here behind her ears. And maybe her headdress can be right here at the hairline. So she has one of these. Maybe you want some bits sticking out. Usually the shorter hair is here close to the base. It's also a very typical anime thing to have this little hair sticking out like this. And you can have bits maybe coming out from here to the side and back into the headdress. And then have her hair flow down. Always try to follow a certain flow. Long hair, wavy long hair tends to have this big curves. If her hair was curlier, then it would have smaller waves. And if her hair was straight, then it would barely have any waves, so sort of like this, just to give you an idea. Okay, so let's go back to our Alice over here. Let's add her details. I usually start from the face, but you can start whenever you feel most comfortable. One thing that I usually do when I construct my faces is I put the nose around where the ear ends. So the tip of your nose tends to be around on the same line where your earlobe is. But what I'm doing here is I am giving Alice sort of a surprised expression, almost like she is curious about this new world that she is in. She is wondering where she is and what all of this is. And so I try to convey that through her expression. For drawing the hand here, I am just following a reference. I literally googled hold teacup and I chose the hand position that looked the most like the one she would be using here, and I am just following the reference for my drawing. So here's my finished sketch. This is what I would normally do right before going into my line art. But I am not going to do that today. I will just show you up until the sketch part, just because I want to make sure that you have the base necessary to build an illustration upon. The rest of the process from here on is mostly technical details, and it's different between traditional and digital art. Alright, so lettering is not my forte, but this is my completed sketch. You can of course change what the title looks like. As I said, it's not my strong suit and I would probably change it from here, but this gives you a good idea of what you're working with when you're starting an illustration. And I know it's a very lengthy process, but sketching and composition are all incredibly important, especially when it comes to covers. They need to be eye-catching. They need to tell a story, and you need to utilize all the space that you have and make the most out of it. This is the end result. Let me know if you like this format, and if you would like to see more of it. I would definitely like to do a mix of both redrawing, kind of like this, but also just fixes like I do with the digital art. So just keep sending me your work. You can do that on my Twitter or on my Instagram. Just send me a DM anywhere with your work and say that you would like me to give you advice. If you have anything specific you would like me to focus on, I will also do that. And as always, don't forget to check out my Ko-fi. I take commissions on there and also donations. Donations will always help me keep doing these videos for you. And don't forget to like and comment and subscribe if you want to see more of this. I have been Kuru, and thank you so much for watching. Goodbye!